Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads. And as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth chats. Oh, I better get the correct background, hadn't I? Let me see. There we go. There we are. Now it's the correct background. So welcome back to the Around the Hearth chat. I'm not editing that out. We're not starting over. We're going straight in. We don't have time to lollygag here. Let's do this.
It's raw.
Yeah. So welcome back to the Around the Hearth. This time, as you have undoubtedly seen from the title and thumbnail, we are going to be discussing a super serious subject. Chicken races in our games. We wanted to do this one because we did some serious stuff, serious discussions with the alignments and things like that up until this point, and we decided, you know what, let's do something more fun and silly this next time. So this is what we're recording this time. This first recording will be over the actual races themselves, and then next episode will be about different adventure ideas and adventure hooks you could use for a group of people playing these chicken races. And I think I always like the different punny names that people come up with for these, so okay. Now, before we start into this, as always, let's start with our announcements. For the Inn of Planar Crossroads, I have a couple announcements. Hopefully by June, we will have the new web layout done. I'm working piece by piece on it. I've got most of the graphical stuff done that we'll start with. It'll start black and white, and then it'll slowly get more and more developed as I get those graphics done, and then eventually, hopefully by, I don't know, the end of the year or something, or July, June or July, or not June, but July or somewhere after that, we'll start putting in those other neat graphics and descriptions and things for the webpage. But that will give you a place to go and see our homebrew stuff, as well as the different things that we put on as far as episodes. If you don't want to go directly to YouTube, you can always do that there. At some point, if I can get the mirroring correctly for from YouTube to BitChute, that's another announcement, we will be backing up most of our stuff to BitChute, I think, and using that as our backup storage port for things on the web page in case something happens with YouTube and stuff. I think that's everything as far as announcements right now. For this particular set of races, we do plan to put out a PDF for the different, like a one-page blurb about each system that we're going to cover the races in. So, you shall have that when we reach 1,000 subscribers. People will have access to that then. That will be the subscriber goal for 1,000 subs. So, there you go. I think that's everything, and I was still less than 5 minutes. I was watching my time. So,
Nice.
Let's see. We have, let's do Dan from Avenue Studios.
Hello, it's Dan again, and I actually have the background behind me.
Woot woot.
These guys were very patient. We're still setting stuff up, that's why there's wires next to me. But we're getting there. So, Avenue Studios, we're on YouTube and Rumble, podcasts, anywhere you find podcasts. And you can support us on Patreon or Locals. And we do Bomb Squad actual play. I'm wearing the shirt from the Great Mustache. He made this last time he came up. So, check us out there. And I think this will, I don't know exactly when this will come out, but I think in June we'll officially be starting our shows on Twitch, and we're starting with the Pathfinder second edition beginner's box. So Jacob's going to be running that, and with a couple patrons and myself and some other people from the gang. So hopefully you'll see that Twitch notification from us very soon. And that's what we're up to over here.
Yeah. Make sure to back up those things from Twitch when you record them, too. Cause Twitch is not very well known for backing up its stuff.
You got to get it off immediately. I also have OBS recording, too. You know.
Okay, well, that'll be fun. I'll get more content to watch. So.
Yeah, I know. I've been behind. I'm ironically building... It's not ironic, but it's humorous. I'm building a chicken coop right now.
Yeah!
So, this was on point.
There you go. All right. So that's Dan from Avenue Studios. Levi, do you have our spotlight for this time?
I do. I am actually going to re-spotlight something because I now have even more information than I did back then. Coyote and Crow. I was at a local gaming store and I actually bought the physical book. It's got good art. The book itself, well made. It has a large section about the exact lore of the world as it stands in that. I have started reading through it. They've got the basics, have not finished it. Very interesting system about an alternate history sci-fi.
Right.
The dice resolution mechanic is a little World of Darkness-y, but the number to succeed changes based on other factors. So, it's an interesting system that I am enjoying reading through at the moment.
All right.
And
Let me see. This is
it was nice to see that it's actually well made. Because you never know when you see a Kickstarter if they're actually going to result in a good quality physical product.
And this is Coyote and Crow, a science fantasy role-playing game set in an uncolonized future? Is that what that is?
Yes!
Okay, I found
There was
the right
basically...
thing.
Yeah. There was a magic event that happened before... So it says uncolonized. I haven't read the lore exactly, but going through the history, it's more specifically that the Americas, as we refer to them now, were never named the Americas. Because an event happened before that. So they were... The colonization of the Americas never happened to make it named the Americas.
Gotcha. All right. So that's...
Various other interesting stuff. Fun lore, there's a bit of a magic system, new tech. I'm curious to see how the mechanics actually play out.
Well, they've got a solid font going for their Coyote and Crow thing, so...
They do. I think their, design and the aesthetic of everything is done really well.
Alright. So there we go. Coyote and Crow, and that is coyoteandcrow.net. If you want to look those up, I'm showing it up to the viewers on the screen. So, there you go. Alright. So that is our spotlight. Oop. Now, let's go back to this. Okay. So, cool spotlight. I'll be interested to look at it and see which of the tribes they decided would make it to be the dominant ones. Because, the Iroquois probably had a solid running in there, and the Apache.
So, from what I have read, that is maybe not the most useful perspective to be wondering about it.
Oh, it's far future type of thing.
Yes, it is not right now as if it never got colonized. That's why I'm alternate history sci-fi, because it is in the future of now, but the past changed a while before us.
Oh, so retro-futuristic sci-fi, I guess?
So sci-fi... Because the thing is, it doesn't use the specific trappings of a retro period, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's alternate history, but instead of ending the alternate history now, it speculates even farther beyond.
Okay.
Right? So it goes to the point where, a 3D printer to, replace the leg of your table is just, a common household appliance.
Okay, so, almost post-scarcity, then. Okay. Post-meaningful scarcity, it specifically states that, poor people, poor in this setup is, you're still healthy and have the supplies to live. You don't have all the fancy gadgets, you're probably not taking trips out on, a solar-powered whatever vehicle, they have names for them. And I read the name, but only once, so I don't remember what it's strictly called. I got
right?
you.
But you don't have that. Yeah. Like, poverty isn't a death sentence. It's
an inconvenience.
It's an inconvenience. Like, maybe you have to do more of other stuff, but, like, you're gonna eat, you're gonna be clothed, you're living in a house.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
So mostly post-detrimental scarcity.
Makes sense. Okie dokie. So that's our spotlight. Good spotlight. I'm looking forward to kind of peeking at it myself. So we'll see how that goes. Let me see. I think that's everything. No more announcements before we get started? All right.
I think so.
Then that means that you can sit down, travelers. Rest your weary bones by the fire, pull up a chair, and join us with your preferred beverage as we discuss chicken races. So, all right. We were going to start.
Is it terrible that I think of literally chickens racing every time we say that?
There you go. Chicken races. Go
Chicken
chicken racer, chicken racer, chicken racer, go. There you go.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy now.
All right. Well, it's good you're happy because we decided you were starting with the 5e version, I believe.
Yes. So, full disclosure, in researching for chicken races, someone in a Reddit thing for a person who had gotten turned into a chicken and wanted to commit to it as a character and was looking for ideas, they threw out the name Chikenku, which I just fell in love with.
Yep.
So, I did not make up the name, but I like it.
All right. I'm going to share the screen just so you guys can see what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and I'll have all this extra. I'll make it look like, for when you hit 1,000 subs, we'll have it fleshed out fully like a real 5e thing. Ooh. You're gonna share it with us too? How nice.
There we go.
Awesome.
I assume y'all can see that.
Yes, I've got my version up too.
Okay.
So the general idea I had for them was that, the backstory for the Kenku are that the demon lord they worship, they betrayed him, tried to steal stuff, and he cursed them. And my idea was that he got his idea for the curse from this actual race, the Chikenku. So they're not cursed; it's just how they are. They can't fly, and they never developed a real. They don't have a very advanced language system, but they can mimic quite well. Just it's bacaws and squawks and all that stuff. So they don't have the mimicry of Kenkus at all. And I pictured them as just this farming village, so I have a little thing there. They're a generally peaceful avian race, preferring to care for their farms and homes and staying close to the community from which their survival has always depended. As time has gone on, though, the interactions with adventurers and the many dangers of the world has inspired the more brave of this race to venture forth. So, blah, blah, blah. The more interesting stuff is down in traits for the mechanics. So for 5e, I went with your dexterity score increases by 1 and your wisdom score increases by 2. So I basically flipped the Kenku ability score increases.
Okay.
So went with kind of druid farm. I wanted them to really feel like farmers. Like they have a little agility because they do have wings that are relatively helpful. They can jump farther and help them balance, but they're really more good with the land. They have the same lifespan as Kenku, reaching maturity at about 12, live around 60, but they're much smaller, 2 to 3 feet tall, gnomish size. I kept the same walking speed, but then this is where I had fun, was your race traits. So I took the expert foragery from Kenku and changed it to expert foraging. So they have advantage on survival checks to forage, and they can remain aware of danger while they're foraging. So they don't get the disadvantage just because they're used to everything trying to come up. Chikenku bred, you can choose 2 of the following skills, so just switched out a couple things again, going more for that ranger, druid type. But they got acrobatics, perception, nature, and survival to choose from. Mm-hmm. And then nature's gift, they, depending on whether you choose to be a rooster or a hen, you get 1 special ability. Rooster Chikenku can use their crow ability to inspire allies. It operates as the bless spell. But instead of the listed components, they have to crow continuously for that 1 minute.
Roosters have no problem with that.
Right, I thought 60 seconds easy. But I also like the idea that he's just like belting this crow as the battle is going on. So it made me really happy. And I think Bless, you can do up to 3 allies or 3 targets, if I remember correctly. So you can get most of the party. The hen Chikenku lays an egg every day in the morning. As a bonus action, you can consume a raw egg and it heals 1d4 plus 1, or during a short or long rest, it can be cooked as desired and then it's a 2d4 plus 2, like your regular potion. So they basically make a healing potion every morning. And then my favorite one I added in there is chicken wings. And I stole this. I kind of modified this from something I found on D&D Homebrew, the website. While not wearing medium or heavy armor and not restrained, you can use your reaction to gain the effects of the Featherfall spell, and you can double your jump height or distance. So basically, to simulate that use, like they can't fly, but
right,
they can do a little bit. So, and then the big thing for the RP was you can read and write Common and Aran. I kept that from Kenku. You can speak only by poorly mimicking others around you. So same as like the Kenku idea that you got to copy what the other players are saying to kind of explain what you want to say. But it's not, you don't have the mimicry skills of the Kenku. It's like...
Which I almost think in actual play might be more fun. Because like there's some sense that like when people have played, like I've had people play Kenku and they'll like try and mimic also the tonality of the other person's words. But like I can imagine going through like a weird screechy mishmash of other people's sentences.
They don't care about the tonality. They just try to mimic it. They just try.
They can kind of get the words. And I did throw in as a thing like in D&D Beyond where I made this. If you click on it, or actually it might be in the RP, the role playing for as a Chikenku. It's under Chikenku Adventurers. Because I was thinking like this would be really fun for a one shot to be cawing all the time, but it might get annoying if you're doing something longer. So again, since they're not cursed like the Kenku, a Chikenku can learn. I threw in there like they could learn to start communicating properly. So as they're mimicking what other people are saying and starting to understand the language, you could kind of play with like building into actually being able to speak Common if they spend time around other adventurers and stuff. So just because I was thinking of the balance of if you want to play this long term, if it seems to get annoying, this is a way out if you need it. Talk with your DM sort of thing.
You play a monk Tenku. You play a monk Chikenku, and you decide to take a vow of silence. Totally works out.
Perfect.
Everything's fine. But play a female, so you don't give up your racial.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Play a hen.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I thought it was funny that you gave them the chicken names of Clucker, Pecker, Flapper, and Macaw.
Yeah. Well, I thought was they don't have a language, so they probably just had a sound for each other, basically. And then that's how it gets translated to Common.
Mm-hmm.
Or any fun nickname you want to give, if you want to have your party give you a nickname or something like that.
Yeah, they just respond to whatever party nickname they have. Whatever person they like, they respond to the nickname that they gave them. So
yes, right.
They don't respond to anybody else's nickname. It's just the one that they like.
Yep. Which is similar to the Kenku, actually, so that's really perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll throw some other just fun narrative things in there, and then a little kind of an Easter egg for me. The little thing at the beginning. You know how they always have a little story bit. That's actually one of the first 5e characters I ever played was Killian. So
I knew I recognized that name.
Yeah. It's so that was fun. Anyways, That's my Chikenku.
Okay, that's the 5e race then. So let's go over to a sample build for one in Open Legend then.
Yes. So this one I focused on the rooster, and I stuck with my Chikenku idea. So I just tried to build a first level character as a rooster Chikenku.
With full attribute points, might I add. This is a pretty buff chicken.
This is a full Open Legend character. But yeah, he went protection and agility are his main things, which I thought kind of went with that. And then a little presence to feed into that rooster crow, and perception, and then logic will underneath that. And then to simulate that same idea of the flapping wings to go farther, I gave him Great Leap 2 as one of his feats. And then I thought, because he's going in protection, and you have one rooster protecting all the hens a lot of times if you have chickens, I went with a defend build. So for first level, he's got battlefield retribution and defensive reflexes. And of course, leveling up, I'd probably go into Sentinel to get more defend actions per round. But I thought this was good. He does one crazy commit, probably jumps in there out of nowhere with his Great Leap to defend his girls and just
stay away from my women.
Yep. So
it's all grimdark and serious, and he yells back to them, "Get them to get them to the coop!" And he faces it. He's got his headband or something, I don't know, trailing off into the wind.
I thought about one of I probably would grab later too his bolster, boom focus bolster for getting really into that rooster crow idea.
Yeah. You could do. If you took away from presence and did, if you switched presence and protection, you could do the rooster from the Robin Hood animated movie.
Yeah,
that Disney did.
Oh, absolutely.
Dun, 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 dun.
Totally. Well, and I like that too. Like with the flavor guy here, you could take, of course, with Open Legend, you could take it a million ways.
Right.
And then I was thinking about maybe making some perks, but I think the great thing to highlight with Open Legend is how easy it is to flavor these basic mechanics. So with the perks and flaws, brash and vengeful for the flaws, having dealt with roosters a lot, they'll peck your eyes out. So that fits in very well. And then courageous, they're just, if the brood is attacked, they don't care. They're just going to go in there and take them out. And then my favorite is Divine Agent, which when you're subject to a finishing blow, instead of dying or having to resist death, you go up to 1 HP. Is simulating a chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah.
And now they just keep going.
That's a different way to look at Divine Agent. That's for sure. Right?
So having witnessed that before, that was a fun addition. So.
Oh, now you got a chicken necromancer. And he raises his beheaded. Yeah, he raises his beheaded. What if he dies?
Because he's a necromancer.
Yeah, necromancer.
I didn't even catch that at first.
Well, what if he dies in some kind of necromantic ritual? But the problem is that they screwed it up, and now he's just got to carry his head around. Yeah, he's a headless chicken carrying his head around, working all this evil necromantic magics.
Alternately, only the head got raised.
Yeah.
And then he raises his body to carry him around.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Very Frank Herbert Reanimator. type of thing going on.
Yes.
That's a deep cut for you non Lovecraft fans and non B-movie fans. All right.
Unbelievable. Anyways, so yeah, that was just a quick throw together. Have some fun with the basics of Open Legend to simulate a chicken with its head cut off.
Gotcha. All right. That means we're to Levi. All right, Levi, we're at the Chicken Peeps for Pathfinder 2E.
Okay, which one did you want to go with first?
The 2E.
All right. Yes. PF2E Chicken Peeps, a legit name used by the Ancestry. In Pathfinder in general, right, they prefer, like, there are words like catfolk, but because as a culture they call themselves Amurans. The idea is, right, if you're picking it, it's like, oh, this is what my character would think of themselves as.
Mm.
Right. I haven't picked an Ancestry name. If on the Starfinder one, I have a joke name, but it probably should not be the end result. The Bakadoodle Dudes.
Yeah. Over here in Pathfinder 2E. Oh, we gotta focus. Got Pathfinder 2E focus.
Just the name.
Yes.
So I went with HP 8. Often for the smaller size, they would have HP 6, but if you have a con boost, they'll go a little higher. I went speed 20 feet. You're little, hard to move that fast. I did a little bit weird with the boosts. I gave you a boost to con and a flaw to int. Constitution, how healthy you are. Int, intelligence, how smart you are. More accurately, how able you are to learn new factoids. And use those facts. And 2 free. Normally, if you only get a boost to one thing, you only get 1 free boost. And you normally wouldn't have a flaw, but the stereotype is chickens are dumb. And they're hard to kill. Not hard, but they're hardy. They can run around with their head cut off, they can eat most things. Like, I felt justified giving them a boost to Constitution.
Right.
I want a better name in the future, but currently the language I gave them was Bocklin.
Okay.
I thought it was good.
Yeah. So in 2E, there are side custom rules you can do to buff things that should logically be able to fly, but they're restrictive with the balance, so I went with Astrix. Basically, anytime you try to jump, you jump farther. Is how that works out. I gave you a beak and claws. Because I gave you 2, I didn't make either of them finesse, so you're going to have to use them with strength. You have agile feet. I did not give you hands. You're going to have to flap your wings to balance as you use your feet.
Perfect.
And because of that, you can only have 1 hand's worth of items, and the idea is that the chicken is hopping while flapping to stay balanced while fighting you with a rapier.
Come at me, you cur!
Yeah. So there are heritages, which are kind of like broader, often more biological aspects. So I just gave you a bigger chicken who is small size, and instead of 8 base HP, they have 10. I wrote it as environmental because there's hot and cold for most ancestries. Basically, I would have 1 for each. One who's more used to, like, hotter climates and can, like, get better airflow through the feathers to make environmental heat effects 1 lower. Another one where, like, they're thicker, more clumped up feathers, and it can deal with environmental cold better.
Nice.
Improved wings. Basically, you're better at flapping, so you have a harder time getting hurt by a fall, as opposed to just being able to jump farther. True omnivore. Iron Gut goblins can eat most things without getting poisoned. And it was just like a easy, I knew that it was balanced.
Nice.
Another one. So for some feats you could pick at first level, there's top of the pecking order. You get proficiency in intimidation and intimidating glare.
That's good.
There's chicken lore. I assume you're getting proficiency in survival and nature for that, and then obviously chicken lore. I would use their correct name, but I haven't made it, so I can't. Chicken weapon familiarity. They know the weapons they use. Bottom of the pecking order is if they would die, they keep at 1 HP.
Mm.
In this case, as opposed to just... I would make the, just flat out, you die, but your body takes, another turn, a higher level feat. Like, a literal 17th level feat. When you die...
That's awesome.
Your body acts for another minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's basically the, hey, if you would go down to 0, you stay at 1 instead.
Yeah.
They're used to getting beat up.
Well, the bottom of the pecking order, if they're still alive by that, they're tough.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like chicken peeps as a thing, because we use the word kin and, let me see, knees and, those suffixes to denote people from places and who you are and where you're from. And I would think it was funny if this race just called everybody cat peeps. Like, for cat folk, work peeps.
That's pretty funny.
And that was just their suffix for everything that would pertain to that instead of kin.
Right.
Could easily be. I have not more fleshed out. So, when I imagine more sentient chickens, I imagine hierarchical and kind of brutal societies.
Yep.
I also just, as you were discussing yours, realized I didn't do any sexual dimorphism in mine. It's not strictly bad or good, it's just not something I took the time to think about.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's fun about seeing the different systems, too, because you can only squeeze so much into the race build. You gotta kind of pick and choose your bits.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see what everyone...
I think this one's fun and viable. Like, playing a tiny race is a little harder, but playing the small size version, you could do that.
Yeah.
Pretty fairly, yeah. Well, and what basically part of the reason I didn't want to give con and strength or con and dexterity was so that you could play a caster chicken.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right, because if you're tiny, well, okay, yeah, it's pretty hard because you have to literally be standing in their square if you want to stab them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to stand back and throw fireball...
Yeah.
Right, and in my mental image, they flap their wings, and then both of their feet are, moving around to draw the sigils in the air.
Oh, they do this whole, they spin and flip like they're doing kung fu, but they're really drawing sigils in the air.
Oh, man.
Stuff like that, yeah.
And then
Chicken airbender.
Oh, man. So they're actually sorcerer. That would make a bit more sense with their flaw to int. So they're flipping and drawing these sigils, and they start to glow.
Or druid.
And then they stop, and they rear back, and they caw into it, and it goes... and bless.
Yeah, that's how it... Because, part of it is them being able to work around the hand issue.
Yeah.
Which, for me, that was also part of why it was okay to give them, the 2 weapons, good HP, a little freedom in their boosts, was that they were really limited in exactly how they use their quote-unquote hands.
Yeah.
Which is definitely playing with the balance a little bit, but I gut reaction don't think this is broken.
No, I don't think it's all that broken.
No.
Alright, so that's 2E chicken peeps. So you did do something different with Starfinder. I
did. In this conceptual lore, the natural ones are what are called Wildborn. Again, Bakadoodle dudes. I'm a little proud of that pun, but...
They gotta have, a space boy band or something.
Oh, no, you know what it's like?
The Bakadoodle dudes is a great band name.
So you said these were more war-based type of things in their lore?
Yes.
So,
because I'm definitely imagining this group as, the most common, well-known society of them is lawful evil.
So, these lawful evil chickens, they're the Bakadoodle dudes, and they're like the orcs in Warhammer, They talk with a bunch of different words they've made up that are bastardizations and amalgamations and short forms of other words because they hate to talk about it. They'd rather just fight about it.
Right.
Okay. So show off the mechanics.
All right.
You can build out one.
So, I've got the dichotomy of Wildborn and Broilborn. Don't have it written up here, but basically, Wildborn are, in a sense, the leadership of this. They are, like, ones who are born otherwise naturally. They made the other stuff. They are smaller, less hit points. They also don't have hands, but they have, I guess you could call them prehensile feet.
Okay.
They're faster moving, and they're more resistant to diseases. Then we have our Broilborn, who are the bioengineered soldiers of the Chicken Imperium. They are medium, they have 6 HP, So both of them have an intelligence penalty. The Broilborn have it worse. The Wildborn are wise and healthy. The Broilborn are very strong and healthy, but dumber. They're medium-sized. Their wings can also actually be used as hands, but because they are big and bulky, they cannot walk as fast, and they cannot fly as fast. All of them have low light vision. I'm just assuming if you have to deal with predators, you have to see a little bit in the dark. Natural weapons. So Vesk are like a lizard people who are also the concept I have for these has a decent amount of similarities to the Vesk, but the Vesk are naturally this way, whereas the Wildborn built themselves to get closer to this method. But basically, you can tear things apart with your beak and claws. You can fly. Survive the pecking order again. Basically, when you would be reduced to 0 HP, you stay at 1. Once per day.
Cool.
They'd probably have a feat to allow you to use resolve points to do it more times per day.
Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't do any special racial feats either. So, I just built out the base race.
Yeah. I mean, for a nice PDF, I think things like that are pretty natural extensions that might be worth me putting a little more thought into.
I think it's funny to see, especially playing around with the idea of just not having hands, dealing with things with your feet. Makes it fun, especially for... It's a fun thing for the role play, but it's also interesting to try and work around. And it does make it... I can imagine where the Wildborn are like the Adeptus Astartes or whatever it is, the mechanical ones in Warhammer that the mech
Adeptus
priests,
Mechanicus?
Adeptus Mechanicus that run the tech priests and stuff, and then the Broilborn are like the Space Marines are not quite good analogy because Space Marines aren't dumb. They're peak human physique type thing. But the idea is there. So I think that it's pretty cool. I think it's funny. I'd play it.
Well,
I like it. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Alright.
Yep.
So there's Starfinder chickens. Any final remarks about Starfinder chickens?
Chickens in space.
In space. That
alone makes me happy.
That would be the playlist. So
Yes.
if somebody ever watches this and plays games with these things, let us know in the comments section below. We'll spotlight you in a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so that's Starfinder chickens. We're ready for the. I'm going to go ahead and highlight someone who could not attend, Jacob from Jacob's Lab, that is also on Avenue Studios. He made us up a Chicanos type of race for Savage Worlds type of stuff. So, it is time to play a PC who is a chicken humanoid. So he went for a more humanoid type of thing, I believe. An average ancestry ends with a +2 positive racial skill abilities. Can't swim, so that's -1. They subtract 2 from athletics and swimming rolls. Oh. Okay, I better hurry. So, we're getting close on the call. I don't know why it's that long though. Okay, so they get claw attacks, which is strength +4. They get a negative on their size, so they don't grow very big. They're average of 3.5 feet tall in his, and the size is reduced to 1 and toughness by 1. So, keen eyes to probably go with that foraging idea. Very good eyesight, so they start with a D6 in notice instead of a D4, and may rise the skill to a D12 +1. They're good leapers, so that's a +2 for that. The Chikenkus can jump fairly well. Jump twice as far as listed under movement in page 92 of the rule book, as they add +4 to damage when leaping as part of a wild attack instead of using a +2. So that's actually a viable thing for them to use, and could be played into.
I like that.
They have very much like Dragoons on Final Fantasy series, where they jump up and come down. Chicken Dragoons.
Ripping your eyes out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Racial enemy, they get a -1 on that one. They are hunted. I thought this was the funniest part, though. They are hunted by any predatory race because they are tasty. The Chikenos take a -2 penalty on to any rolls against any predator like race or creature. I thought that was funny. That's a nerf, all right. That's brutal. There's chickens. You thought that leaper thing was gonna save you. You got -2. So there you go. But I think this would still be fun to play in specific type of campaign when we get to those next. So that's that one. I've got to keep moving on my highlight real quick. So
Get it, boy.
This is mine. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay. So I call these the Kluc'kin.
I love that.
So this is for Pathfinder 1E. They're an animal race. They didn't really have any rules for animal races, so I just went with 0 race points because it didn't really matter. They have to eat and breathe and all that type of normal stuff. The real thing comes in 4 race points for tiny. And this gives you a lot of stuff here. +2 dexterity, -2 on strength, and etc., etc., etc. But it does have a lot of drawbacks, like not having reach. You don't get AOOs unless you're against another tiny creature, etc., etc. So I really don't think this overpowers them at all. In fact, if you would, and this is a substitute I would make for somebody if they wanted to play this in a serious game, they might go ahead and bump them up to small instead, which would lower their race point from 12 to 2, from 12 to 10, which is on par with the other races, other core races. But this one, I think, is fine. In fact, I wanted to commit to the idea that they were tiny.
I was gonna say it fits so well. You have to just get in their face and peck your eyes out.
Yeah. So I wanted to commit to that whole tiny thing. I wanted to commit to that they don't have hands. I didn't put that in their racial traits as a negative, but it probably needs to be. Their Kluc'kin get an average base speed of 30 because chickens can be pretty fast. I gave them a -4 on strength, +2 on con for the whole chicken with the head cut off thing, and then -2 on wisdom, but not intelligence. I went with wisdom instead of intelligence because chickens can be trained to, like, they can recognize color to degrees, and they can actually be trained to do things. So I went with that.
Okay.
For the Kluc'kin, as far as languages, they can start with Kluc'kin and Common, or Cluckish, I say. So Common plus Cluckish. Furthermore, they can add races in as they go. So these are the more intelligent chickens, I guess. That's why they're above the other chickens. For defensive racial traits, I gave them defensive training for their dodge bonus, because you ever tried to catch a chicken, they're pretty dodgy. So I gave them a natural dodge bonus. For skill feat training, I gave them fly and perception. This is not overpowered because this gives them clumsy flight. This does not give them better flight. That would probably need feat investment. Movement traits, I gave them gliding wings. Kind of similar to what the Gripply get, I guess you'd say. And that's what I based it around. As far as offensive racial traits, I gave them peck and foul ferocity that they both get. So foul ferocity is basically orc ferocity. And then the peck is just a 1d2 damage because of their small size. Now, I did give them dimorphic racial traits. So males, they have a spur, which is... I would either go with the 1d2 or I would make it count as a dagger of adequate of that size. But of that size, you may as well just do the 1d2. So a 1d2 for the males. And for the females, I gave them Foul Whisperer. Foul.
Nice.
Tree speech. It's a modified tree speech. So female Kluc'kin have the ability to converse with fowl and poultry as if subject to the continual speak with animals spell. I did this because female chickens will sometimes cluck to their fertilized eggs. So that's why I did that.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then I gave them weakness for mesmeric weakness. Because if you've ever seen that video where they draw a line and they're holding the chicken and they draw a line in the sand, the chicken, you let go of the chicken, it just stays there until you erase the line. So I thought that'd be a fun way to kind of go with that and play into the wisdom thing not being particularly high. That's
cool. I like that a lot.
Okay, so that's a quick run through of that one. But so that's that one, the Kluc'kin, and I think it turned out well for actually a viable race. If you want to do it that way, I like that I left them with intelligence instead of the other, because then they can be that wizard.
I was thinking the same thing.
So that's what I got.
Now, I think I have the least actual real-life chicken knowledge in this group.
Probably.
Yeah, so I went a little off of intuition and more tropes than what may not be actually accurate to them.
Well, tropes are fine because tropes are fun. Tropes are tropes for a reason. They're fun.
They are. Well, I'm just saying, like, hey, if my chicken doesn't give realism vibes, big realism with this chat.
Oh yeah.
I mean, mine can
just lack of personal experience.
So.
Yeah. All right. So that is the chicken races.
Yeah. Although I should note that because of how Pathfinder 2nd Edition works out, if you want to make that chicken lizard, you just put both of those boosts into intelligence, and you've got a boost to it resulting.
Yeah.
So you will be as smart as any other smart person.
Yep. Well, I think it's really fun if you can get them to play at the scale of chickens, rather than at the scale of, like, the rest of the medium races.
Right, yeah.
So, that's what I did. But our chat's going to end soon. So, we got 2 minutes. So, final thoughts or anything like that?
Give it a try. Let us know how it goes.
Yep. Leave comments in the section below.
Yes, I want to see people play chickens.
All right.
Make a big bad wolf, have it come for them.
There you go. Yep.
All right. We'll see y'all in next chat. All right. Bye. Have a great day. God bless.
Bye.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.